section is all about the diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Improving the experience for families around the diagnosis pathway is something here at Action Duchenne we're passionate about. In these videos, we're going to try and break down a few of the key elements of the diagnosis and go through the science behind it, ultimately explaining why they're doing what they're doing. As with all of these videos, contact details are available at the end or in the description below. Thank you.
So I think, Sophia, the first thing is when it comes to diagnosing Duchenne muscular dystrophy, it is the observation of irregular muscle function or dysfunction in muscle in a male child, mostly in sort of primarily in boys. And that is the most common sort of trigger or alarm to get the right care. It is the delay in sort of motor function. But there is another thing that's actually quite important. So these are the things we kind of see physically in our child. They're not able to do certain physical activities, for example. But there's something else that also highlights a damage to the muscle, which is an increase in serum creatine kinase, which is serum CK levels. And this could be tested for unrelated reasons. We know someone who had sort of another condition. They went in for a blood test, their CK came really high, and then that's how they were diagnosed. That raises suspicion. And then there's another thing. So CK is one thing, but there's also another sort of component in the blood that can be tested, which is increased level of transaminase levels, which are produced. So this particular enzyme is produced by both muscle and liver cells, which can be also an increase in that, can also be another trigger of something not quite right with your muscles.
Yeah, but speaking of CK levels, I just would like to clarify and explain what exactly creatine kinase is. So as you mentioned before, CK stands for creatine kinase, which is an enzyme that leaks out of the damaged muscle. And when CK levels are elevated in a bloodstream, it usually indicates that the muscle is damaged, and that damage is caused by a normal process like muscular dystrophy or some kind of inflammation. So it's not normal to have elevated CK levels in the bloodstream. And this critical element, this indication may say that you should look into the diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Or a muscle dystrophy.
Muscle dystrophy.
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah. And I think the other thing to really point out is that a very high CK level suggests that the weakness is primarily caused by the muscles themselves, like something has damaged the muscle to cause that creatine kinase, which should be inside the muscles, to leak out into the blood. So there has been damage, and it's not indicating that there's some sort of damage to the muscles because of the nerves that control the muscles, or damage to the nerves it's not anything. We're talking about physically the muscle's been damaged, so it's breaking up and the creatine kinase has come out into the blood. And the creatine kinase is also quite high if people undergo sort of really bad accident where they've got physical injury, their muscles are damaged, they could have really sort of high creatine kinase. But of course, in like a 2, 3, 4-year-old without any sort of physical sort of being in a physical accident or anything, you would think that the creatine kinase is because the muscle's been damaged due to a muscle dystrophy or other condition. And when the creatine kinase levels are elevated in a blood sample, it usually indicates muscle damage caused by an abnormal process like muscular dystrophy or inflammation. And I think the increase in creatine kinase does not specify the exact type of muscle disorder. Interestingly, high CK levels can be found even before symptoms appear, including in newborns affected by Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
That is very interesting. And I just wonder, could you tell me the specific range for CK levels in Duchenne muscular dystrophy? Because I think these numbers are quite important to know.
Yes, absolutely. In Duchenne muscular dystrophy, the creatine kinase levels are always very high, typically ranging from 10 to 100 times above the normal level. And the normal range varies based on the laboratory who's doing the test and the assessments, but it's generally up to 250 units per liter. So we're talking around 10 to 100 times above that limit. On the other hand, the CK levels are generally substantially increased in individuals with Duchenne from birth. I mean, you wouldn't potentially see the symptoms till they're 3, 4 in most cases, but the CK levels are increased even at birth, with levels of up to more than 20,000 units per liter. Not uncommon.
That is very high numbers, and we'll definitely have it on the screen so people can also can see it, because visual memory is good and just good to remember it. But yeah, thank you. That is a very, very interesting information. I would just like to add that it's really important to consider the CK level in the investigation of motor delay, especially in younger children, because as you mentioned before, some children don't have any motor delays milestones or any symptoms that may indicate Duchenne muscular dystrophy. But when we are looking into the bloodstream, into the CK level, then that might be an indicator. And also I want to add that in children under the age of 5, a suspicion of Duchenne muscular dystrophy cannot be completely excluded by a normal muscle examination just alone. Therefore, performing a CK level test should always be a part of the investigation when there are concerns about cross-motor or global developmental delay.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the screening for CK evaluation can identify other muscle diseases as well. In a review of 10 pilot Duchenne sort of NS studies, approximately 20% of positive results were due to non-Duchenne muscular dystrophy disorders. So there are others out there. There are other muscular dystrophies that could be identified. One, you have high CK levels, such as Becker muscular dystrophy or Limb-Girdle and congenital muscular dystrophies. So the ability to detect disorders other than Duchenne using this method really highlights the need for follow-up testing algorithms to evaluate individuals who lack Duchenne mutation. So you can, just based on the high CK level, identify that there's something wrong with the muscles. It could be Becker, it could be Duchenne, it could be Limb-Girdle. But then you need to sort of dive into the genetics, the DNA, to identify mutations, to say which one of these muscle dystrophies is it. And the rate of false negatives using the screening method was quite low. We're talking 20 per 180,000 cases.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize how important this information is. Thank you, Maureen, for elaborating it. And yeah, genetics, it's very important as well. And I think we should do another discussion of that in a different video of the series. But I just want to say as well that it's crucial to be aware of these signs and triggers of Duchenne muscular dystrophy diagnosis, and just to consider the CK levels in the every evaluation process if there is a suspicion that there is some kind of muscular dystrophy.
Here at Action Duchenne, we are committed to inform, but also support you through your Duchenne journey. If you'd like to talk about anything raised in this video, please feel free to contact us on 07535 498 506, or alternatively email us at info@actionduchenne.org. Thank you.